I feel comfortable talking to my pupil support teacher and Jamie down the pupil support base because they're really friendly and approachable and nice people.
I definitely feel most comfortable talking to either my pupil support teacher or even like my music or drama teachers. I feel like most teachers in the school that I have are quite approachable, but especially my music and drama teacher, as I've got quite a good relationship with him, like in class and whatever.
I go to my pupil support teacher, which is Miss Ballantyne. I think she's approachable and she's good with talking to people as well.
So as Principal Teacher of Pupil Support, there are a number of measures which we have in place within our team to keep our young people safe from harm. Within PSE lessons, we focus on the Shinari indicators. They are explained to our young people in great detail, and we then ask our young people to rate themselves on each indicator. As teachers, we take those results back in, and if a young person scores themselves quite lowly in one of the factors, we then ask for them to come and chat with us in a private conversation on a one-to-one basis, just to explore that a bit further. Sometimes with a bit more explanation, there isn't any more great concern. However, in the circumstances where we do have a further concern, we then would give that young person advice on how to keep themselves safe. We would also give them advice on how to be responsible. And we would also give them advice on how to feel included if that was the relevant Shinari indicator that they had expressed to us. At all times, we try to empower the young person and make sure that they can come to us for advice or any other agencies within the school. For example, they might wish to make a referral to the school counsellor, they might wish to speak to PC Fru, or they might wish to speak to Jamie Dungavel, our Homeschool Partnership Officer. Within the PSE curriculum, a number of topics are taught to our young people from S1 to S6 to keep themselves safe. This includes keeping safe online and social media and being aware about child exploitation. Domestic abuse is another aspect of our PSE curriculum. We also look at families and relationships, and we look at any ways which in our school community we feel there is a need to respond to, and again making sure that our young people are empowered with information and aware about any member of staff in the school, ranging from teaching staff, office staff, pupil support staff, year heads and our other agencies that can offer them advice to keep them safe from neglect, harm, abuse or violence. Within my role, we handle a range of information about our young people. Sometimes this can be very sensitive information, and all information is always handled in a confidential way. Sometimes information is given to us in pupil support from the pupil themselves, from an observation from a class teacher or a classroom assistant, or a concern from perhaps another member of staff in the school, for example, the office staff. Other referrals to us in pupil support can come from outside agencies, including Police Scotland or social work. In these instances, everything is dealt with in a confidential manner, and the child and their well-being is always central to every decision and every action that is made. If we have any concerns about the protection of a young person in school, in the family or in the community, any concerns are always taken directly to our Child Protection Coordinator in the school. That's our Deputy Head Teacher, Mrs McMillan, and if necessary, social worker contacted for advice, or if the young person has an allocated social worker, we link in with them too. In all cases though, it's important for information to be clear, to be accurate and also to be dealt with confidentially.
Well, one of the main ways I would do that within the school is working with particular young people that are maybe suffering from neglect or bullying, be it in their friendships, their families, their school environment, and giving them sort of an understanding of how to overcome it and how to tackle it. In the same respect, I would also work with people that maybe are perpetuating neglect or bullying, so that would be in maybe a family environment, or if particular young people are quite challenging and they're ones that are maybe causing the difficulties or the distress in other young people in the school, to try and help them see the error of their ways. So I would do it on a sort of one-to-one basis in that sense, but as a whole school approach, what I would tend to do is run initiatives in the school that would tackle these things and help young people understand neglect and bullying from different perspectives. For example, I do a lot of different senior projects in the school, such as peer mentoring, peer education, mental health ambassadors, which have a lot of focus on seniors supporting younger pupils, and as part of that they need to understand what neglect is, they need to understand what child protection is, and because of that they have to kind of keep an eye out for if they ever see it with the young people they are supporting. So for example, if they are supporting a first year that's just started and something comes up that's clearly neglect, they would be aware of that so they can kind of pass it on so something can be done from it. So I sort of educate them so they can tackle it and support doing something about it. Again, if there's a mental health concern with a particular young person in school and one of our ambassadors touches upon that young person in the sense that they kind of highlight something's happening to them in a neglectful capacity, then they can be aware of that and then something can be done to help that particular young person come out of neglect. We also have a bespoke project that I run within the school called the Mentors and Violence Prevention Scheme, which is a very strong anti-bullying programme, which is very focused on getting seniors and training them to be the sort of leaders in identifying violence, inappropriate behaviour, kind of cruel behaviour that exists between young people, and giving them the confidence to sort of educate other young people about this so they can do something about it. They act as a sort of role model across the school, so if they notice anything that's wrong, so if they notice something bad going on or somebody getting called names or something like that, then they do something about it. That doesn't always need to be that they jump in, it could be that they help support that particular young person, they guide them to the right person for support. It can be that they sort of keep an eye out for them or they get their friends involved. But we look at other avenues to support bullying. It's not just about tackling the particular bully, we look at the support that exists around that young person that is being bullied, and that comes a lot from the seniors. But also what they do is they'll go into classes, first year, second year, etc. classes, and teach them about situations that can arise in bullying, such as insults or things that happen in corridors or group chats, and they'll help younger pupils understand about not being a bystander. So if they're aware, if a first year's aware of seeing something they know is clearly wrong, there's always a temptation to be a bystander and do nothing about it. But our seniors that are MVP leaders, what they'll do is educate these younger pupils in the school to do something. So if they see it, then maybe again bring it up or highlight it, support that young person that's got the issue in the group chat or whatever it is, the particular issue at the time. So they're actively getting involved in the situation so that young person's not alone in handling it. So holistically, I think one of the approaches that works quite well is our sort of peer leadership in the school for addressing neglect and also tackling bullying, because we feel, myself primarily, that young people, especially our older young people, provide a real strength in that, a real strength in tackling it and make a real impact and a lasting change going forward.
In the school, I provide a visible presence at school where pupils can come to me for help, support and advice. I will listen to all concerns and treat all information sensitively. Also deliver inputs to students in classes, mainly to discuss topics in order to give them important information to help keep you all safe. Also work with partnership agencies like social work, health, education and local policing departments who share information in the community to make things better for you. Also attend many multi-agency meetings, sharing information on how to safeguard our young people. Also carry out a criminal investigation when something significant is reported to myself.
If I saw someone being bullied, especially in the canteen or any public areas in the school, I would just make sure a member of staff knew about it, and I'd make sure the person was okay. Currently I'm an MVP, which is a mentor and violence prevention, and I basically deliver lessons with my peers to the S1 pupils about the bystander approach.
I would go to my pupil support teacher or PC through just because I feel like they deal with situations like that on the daily, and I would expect them to take action straight away on the situation and help me approach the person who was being bullied and the person who was doing the bullying and make them apologise to the person.
I would go to Jamie from Pupil Support and I would expect him to sort the situation out by sitting the two down and talking with them about the situation, and also contact Pupil Support.
I would go to Jamie and he'd pass it on to a Pupil Support teacher, which could then take it a bit further and deal with it, and I would also try and help myself first of all.
Really good question. I'm sure a lot of people viewing this will accept that you can't put 1,200 or more pupils in a school and expect everyone to get one. But some pupils think that it's banter. Banter's fine if it's a one-off or on occasion, but more than that it becomes bullying. when we're subjecting somebody to comments or attention that they don't want. And it's not about getting them punished for that, it's about getting them to understand what is wrong about it and why. Only this week, it was a pupil in the corridor coming round a right-angled corner, and there was a pupil standing outside a class, and one of the pupils jumped in front of the person and just made a loud animal noise about 2 feet away from his face, wasn't wearing a mask and so on. Got on it right away, stopped the pupil who had been shouted at, and the person who was shouting in his face. Obviously it wasn't good for that to happen, so what I did was I got both of them together, we had a chat about it, we got both views, and then what you have to do is really make the person realise that what they're doing is wrong and the reasons why they're doing that. So what we do is sit down, do a bit of mediation between the two. The aggressor gets his chance to say, and the person who has been shouted at in this instance. And we have a forum that we use, and it's to do with look at the past, the present and the future, with a view to getting to the end goal. And the objectives of all of that is to make the pupils realise and understand what is wrong about that, not to punish but to make them understand, and that way it's a better effect on the pupils. Did that with it, and you would follow up at some point to make sure everything was okay. As teachers, under Article 19 has been mentioned, we have got the right to ensure that the children are protected against any forms of violence, neglect and certainly bad treatment. In my situation I've given you, pupil was badly treated, it's been resolved, everybody's happy and we're in a good place.
Court ties a righteous